Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 35 entitled reprogramming. Okay, so as usually, we're gonna first define concretely what it's about to make sure that we are on the same page. Secondly, we will try to visualize the reason for being, okay, the scope of it, also let's say the field of application of this topic. Third, we will see some techniques and we will finish by some tips and advice. So, what is reprogramming? Okay, so reprogramming is a kind of parameter, re-parameter, change your parameters, okay? Change your criteria. To make it, let's say, simple and easy, it is the same principle than your computer and you change or you clean up and you change the software, okay? You change the software, it means you change the methodology, and this is concretely changing your mindsets, okay? But within your unconsciousness, okay, in your unconscious, okay, to, let's say, behave differently, okay? To make it short, okay, as we know in psychoanalysis, okay, you have the conscious part, your mind, your mindset, your character, and so on. And then you have your unconscious part. The unconsciousness, this is concretely your GPS, okay, linked to your intuition. It is what, in quote mark, what thinks when you sleep, think about breathing when you sleep, for instance, what give orders to your different cells to struggle against a virus, against a disease, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is your unconscious part. Okay, so, but actually your unconscious part is the true boss. Why? Because all what he or it believes, it becomes the truth, your own truth, okay? Just to make it simple and for you to understand with an analogy, a parallel metaphor, it's exactly like if you have a tattoo, okay? A tattoo is under your skin, of course, okay? You have some colors and so on, design and so on, but it's under your skin. If you try to clean up and so on, you can use whatever cream you want, it will never disappear. Okay, why? Because it's under. Actually, this is the same principle. Okay, your character, your personality, referring to what we saw in the key 9, sorry, actually is the fruits of many parameters, okay, which shape your mind, your character, and so on. So character, it can be, let's say, from your education, from, let's say, your family, okay, kind of heritage in a certain extent, but also this is the fruits of the education, your education, that's to say your parents, your family, but also your school, okay, your teachers, and so on. So the education, the culture, where you were born, in which country, if you are from a minority and so on, religious or not. It can be also social, okay, which type of job you have, from your parents, from your current situation, and so on. So all these parameters, okay, affect your mind and your way of thinking and believing, okay? And your belief are most of the time the fruits of, let's say, external dimension, okay? So these all parameters shape, let's say, your integrated system, your greed of analyzing, okay, reality, okay? So, and let's say your mind is, let's say, the result of this, but your belief belong to your unconscious part. That's why I use this notion of metaphor. You cannot say, okay, tomorrow I change my mindset. It's not possible. Why? Because you need, I mean, it's still possible, but it's not so easy, okay? Usually you can pretend to be someone, you can be an actor, to be happy face all the time, and so on and so forth. And then your in the somatic, you are creating some cancer and some disease. Disease, why? Because there is a gap. It doesn't match with your real self, okay? And actually, this is not your, it's just you pretend, okay? So that's why it doesn't work. Okay, that's why some people get crazy, some people use drugs and so on, or sometimes they do horrible things and so on. Due to that, because they are not balanced and it doesn't match with their real self. Okay, so the goal, of course, is to work on your unconscious part and to change eventually the programs that you have, to shape differently what you learn and so on, of course, according to your desire, according to what you want and so on, your objectives. Okay, if you consider that you want to change, if you consider that you suffered because of this, okay, this is the point, okay, and the principle. Now let's see concretely the ins and the outs, okay, the reason for being of this reprogramming concretely, why we do that. So first, there is different reasons, essentially 5. The first one is, let's say, to free up, okay, to liberate from potentially some blocking situations, some trauma and so on, and to, yeah, let's say, clean up, okay, for you to release from that, okay. So that's the first point. This, it's kind of cleansing. The second one is to enlarge your, let's say, your field, your scope of competencies, okay, like your memory, like your creativity, eventually your capacity of to feel, let's say, self-confident, all this kind of thing, okay, to improve your daily life in general. Third, it is also to enlarge your field of consciousness, of conscious. What is it? Concretely, the sensitivity, the receptivity, the creativity, the, let's say, the intuitive dimension and so on, to be more connected to the outer world, the synchronicity and so on and so forth. Okay, so your field of consciousness, this is important. Fourth, but actually everything is entangled, interconnected. This is to improve your life, your human conditions, as to say, to aspire to more harmonious life. Okay, the fulfillness. Okay, basically, so individual happiness, let's say harmony, individual one, private one. And if so, in your private life, there will be some impact in your professional life most of the time. And if you're happy, your family, your relative, your friends will feel more happy and so on. So then your individual improvements, okay, will affect your environment, and your environment can affect also the local dimension, local scale, and so on and so forth. And then they can have a ripple effects, domino effects, butterfly effect over, I mean, on other people, and national-wide and international, whatever, worldwide and so on. Okay, so this is the goal, and this is the ultimate, let's say, dream. The main also, so the fifth reason for being of this is linked to what we call technically, and this is science, of course, this is epigenetics, okay? This is the fruit of the good work from Bruce Lipton, an American doctor, and his work is for maybe more than 30 years, but it has been recognized quite recently. What is about epigenetics? When I was young, I studied biology and so on, and maybe you are from the same generation or from before, and what was, let's say, something, as a truth, the statement was the fact that DNA was fixed. You were born with it, and it was not. It was remaining unchanged all your life long. But we discover, let's say, ends of 90s, something like this, mid-90s, and so on, that it was not true. That your DNA was evolving with the time, over the time, and also according to one thing very important, and this is epigenetics, according to your mindset. So what does it mean? It means that this is a little bit chicken and egg. Why? Because your mindset affects your DNA, and your DNA affects the fluidity of the circulation of your energy and so on. And thereby also it's affecting your mindsets, okay? So it's in both sides. And we discovered that a majority of the diseases, 90% of them are coming from here, okay? So from genetics and also for the state of mind. It's essentially what we call somatic. Somatic, nocebo, placebo. Placebo in Latin, it means I heal, okay? Which is positive. You are positive and then thereby you affect your body. As Hippocrates said, Hippocrates, the Greek philosopher and the father of modern medicine, he said the natural force within us are the real healers. Okay, this is really important. The natural forces within us are the real healers. Okay, the real doctors. Okay, the real medicines, the real drugs. Okay, so that's why it's so important. It's not a detail; it's existential. Okay, so the point is that actually this is really linked to, so this is what we call neuroscience, okay? And this is exactly, it will be linked because in the next, let's say, chapter key, we will talk about visualization, linking to, tying to abundance, linking to, let's say, co-creation and so on, okay? But in a certain extent, everything is entangled, everything is interconnected. But let's say it is exactly epigenetics if we refer to certain world heritage through Buddhism, for example, when Buddha say, what you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create is exactly that. So it's linked also to the law of attraction. We are magnetism and we attract what we vibrate, okay? So it's exactly that. So our mindsets, according to the parameters we have, okay, if you change and let's say remodeling, okay, we change our data, the software of our mindsets, if we are more positive, if we visualize and so on, it will affect our DNA and the fluidity of our health and our life in general, our, let's say, accomplishment and so on. Okay, so it's extremely important. Well, what about the techniques now? There is different ones, not as many as before, 7 ones essentially. The first one is hypnosis. Hypo in Greek means under. Concretely, what is it? It means that we're gonna dig, okay, dig into your unconsciousness, unconscious part. Okay, so this is through a professional therapist, of course, and this is important to choose a good one, okay? A cooptation, someone who recommends, so it's real value because there are lots of charlatans, it's a matter of fact. Also, because sometimes there is a good match, sometimes there is not. It doesn't mean he's not professional, he's not skilled, but sometimes it doesn't work, okay? So this is important to choose, but honestly, hypnosis works very well. There is different schools, different techniques, Jungian, Ericksonian, and so on, so far. Personally, I study the main ones. The one vibrates the more within me is from Erickson. Well, it's just, even if I love the philosophy from Carl Jung, okay, but the approach is slightly different. But once again, you are more auditive or you are more visual, it's absolutely up to you. It's personal, okay? So taste and you cannot discuss about that, okay? So try as much as you can. But this hypnosis is really working well. Concretely, what is it? The therapist is just, the practitioner is just trying to give a banana to your consciousness, and then it will go into your secret garden, which is your unconsciousness. And concretely, this is doing a tattoo regarding what you want, concretely, what you want to clean, what you want to solve, what you want to, problems, what you want to change, and so on and so forth. That is working super well. I mean, you need to be receptive. Those who are completely reluctant, who are completely skeptical, it will never work. Okay, so you need a minimum of being receptive, of course. So hypnosis. Okay, so it's work for addiction, it's work well for losing weight and so on. Honestly, I invite you to do a test. Okay, then, and it's quite rapid normally. With after a few sessions, normally after 2 or 3 months, it's work. You can see the change already. Okay, so it's quite rapid because the second one is a psychoanalysis. Okay, so they're in different schools, psychoanalysis, psychology, psychiatry, and so on. Okay, so it's different layers, it's different approach, it's different types, degree also, but it's not a big deal. This is just an accompaniment of trying to, like doing massage or a pressure to pressurize the, let's say, the delicate affective emotion that you need to clean up. Okay, so the fact to express yourself, to extract what has been buried, what has been repressed, and so on. You discharge the emotions towards it, and so on, and you free up. Okay, but the problem of this is most of the time is lasts quite long. Is minimum few months, of course, but most of the times is over 1, 2, 3, sometimes more, few years. Okay, so it's longer, but it is working according to the different people. And same is very important to choose the proper one. Personally, I did when I was 17 years old, sorry, and then when I was 25 years old. And one of them didn't work at all. When I was 17 years old, I was not, let's say, in a good mindset when I went. So of course it didn't work because I didn't want. I was not open, let's say, and maybe also not a good match with the person. It was a very gentle person, but it was not matching, and I was completely in my shields, in my shell, literally, and so on. So anyway, it's just try to choose the proper one. It doesn't mean because it doesn't work with the first one, then you cannot try a second one, and so on. But this is also a good one. The third one is auto-suggestion or self-suggestion and auto or self-conditioning. Okay, this is what we call, technically speaking, coué method. Okay, it's from a French guy from mid 19th century. Okay, and concretely is the fact to repeat something. Okay, like I feel good, no, is I feel good, I'm happy, and so on. And the fact to repeat, okay, is not to be an actor. Huh? It's just the fact you soak, you infuse, you in consciousness more and more soak, and your body soak the essence of this message, the philosophy of this, and so on. You know, those who are systematically, you know, very, very negative all the time, whatever, is like a reflex. Okay, what's happening? They're always, what the fuck, what, you know, always. Okay, you know what's happening concretely? Actually, you know that your neurons are like roads. Okay, so a neuron is two house. Okay, and then there is electricity. This is called synapse. Okay, the more you use this roads, the connection within two neurons, and the more you are like this. It means that, for example, on a field, if you walk always on the same place, you will create a road, right? So if you are always negative, actually, this is difficult to change your pathway. Okay, and this is this parameter because your mind is shaped like this. Your brain is shaped like this. So it's quite hard, it's tough to change that. But if you stop these bad habits, always to be hungry and so on, you will be more positive and you will change, you will reshape your brain. This is actually literally reprogramming. Okay, so this is regularly, okay, like a reflex, like a routine, and you repeat the fruit of your objective. For example, if you are depressed, I'm happy, I feel good. life is beautiful, and so on. So far, always, 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 you soak, you soak, you soak, you soak this, you infuse this essence. This is really important. Then another technique is injection or induction. What is it? Actually, it's injecting some these ideas at a certain moment when you're relaxed. For example, when you do meditation or through what we call theta waves. Okay, your brain is like a radio. It's like you have FM, MW, and LW. You know, on the radio according to the tenor. So we have different layers. Okay, 5 ones. One of them is theta. Theta, Theta, okay, in Greek. Okay, what is it concretely? It means that it is in between 4 and 7 hertz, okay, hertz. And this is when you are really in deep meditation and before sleeping, okay, when you almost falling down, okay, falling asleep, okay. And this is the perfect time when you are in between 2 words to inject and to do the link with your unconsciousness. So when you listen to some music with these waves, okay, theta waves, that's why there is a theta therapy also. You can find on YouTube and so on when you type. But to be honest, this is the music plus this. But this you cannot hear because it's like ultraviolet or infrared you cannot see, okay, with your eyes. You cannot hear properly because under 20 hertz you cannot hear. It's not audible, okay? So that's why, so in our music, what we propose to you in this guided meditation that you will have after, actually, and we'll talk about there later, actually we put it, but you cannot hear it, okay? But your unconscious part is receptive to it. It's like doing a massage to your consciousness to open up your mind, okay? That's the point. So the fact to listen to that plus reading, let's say, like a mantra of your sentences, your objective, or plus when you record, it's affect definitely your unconscious, okay? It's another technique. Another technique is, and the main one, of course, is self-hypnosis, okay? Self-hypnosis, it has been found by Erickson himself, okay? One of the father of hypnosis, okay? Why self-hypnosis? Because he practiced he practiced on himself. Okay, so, and by the way, I practice all my let's say teaching on myself as well. So I can understand that he find that he was also working for him. Okay, so concretely, so is a process that I'm gonna explain you, and is working very well. Okay, there is a framework. Okay, you can change and adjust and so on, but there is a framework, there is a structure, like a pathway, and concretely is work very well. I explain how does it work. You can refer to the book that you can download that I wrote, and you can download in English. The name is Recreation. You can find on my website. It's for free. There is no money. It's for free. You can download it. And actually, there is the framework. It's like 4 or 5 pages, and you can only read it, okay? And then you can adjust, tune it. It means that's the injection that we're gonna see just after. You can adapt to your own needs and your own objective. So, but basically, for you to understand concretely, there is different steps. So the first step is that you're gonna try to relax. How to relax? You engage. Okay, you visualize all your members, and you individually you engage to relax. Once you relax your body, actually there is different steps you're gonna let's say dig, and especially to go down in your consciousness. Okay, so you will feel more and more heavy and so on and so far, to enter into a certain trance, okay, hypnosis, and for which it is like you know, when you do let's say diving, okay, there is different layers. Is the same, you will do by different steps. Okay, so then there is, for example, visualizing stairs, and then you step by step go there. And after a while, the third, let's say, steps, you enter into your secret garden, that's to say your unconscious part, okay, for which at this moment we can go into, let's say, your unconsciousness to change the software and change the data and the parameters and so on, the featurings in certain extents, okay? So this is the point, to do that like this. Okay, and then you go back by different steps, and it's quite soft actually. Okay, it's not terrible, it's not something, but actually, why it is self-hypnosis? Because you will do by your own, and also because you will use your own voice. So you just basically take a music that you can find on the internet, on YouTube, and also you will record with your voice. There is a very different effects with your unconsciousness, and the fact this is your own voice. Okay, that's why it's self-hypnosis. Okay, so you record with your functionality, microphone and so on. You just record, and then you listen to that regularly on night. I mean, before sleeping and so on, when you are relaxed and so on. And the more you do, because you need to practice quite regularly, the better it works. And actually, you can choose all the topics you want. Okay, we did it for exactly. It was the same principle. We did it for inner child. Okay, referring to the key 28. Okay, so it's exactly the same principle. Then you can choose whatever the topic. Personally, I did for many ones, but it's infinite. I have like 20 ones, like health, self-confidence, trust, inner child, phobia, regression, okay, go back to previous lives, harmony, third eye, addiction, losing weight, affective troubles, sleep disorder, of course, grief, stress, pain, sexual troubles, forgiveness, memory, improvements of memory, to enlarge your consciousness and so on and so forth. There is many, many ones. Okay, so you can just, I invite you, I repeat myself, you can download my free book entitled Recreation. You will find the structure, it's written, you can just copy paste and you can just adapt and just to repeat, to read basically, and you change the injection. The injection are the sentences, the blue sentences in this document, which are really the true essence, the parameters you want to change. So you can adapt, you can define your objective. This is the most important thing. All right, so, but actually this is to put in practice what I try to convey, to share with you, the technique I invented, which is TIP, okay, advice, TIP, T, theory, intuition, practice. Concretely, what is it? Theory, you learn from the book, for example, cuisine, okay, from the recipe, from the course, and so on, the ingredients, the, let's say, nutritional intakes, and so on, okay, theory. Then practice, you cook by your own, you follow the recipe and so on, it's too burn, it's too not enough and so on, you adjust, okay, and after a while, with a certain experience, the theory plus the practice, you will master a little bit, okay, and then you will be a chef, okay, and once you reach a certain maturity, let's say, regarding this topic, you can develop your intuition. And what is your intuition? To do it as you feel it. That's to say, to create new recipe or to adapt existing recipe and saying, okay, I want to add some, I don't know, some more lemon or whatever, okay? So it's exactly the same principle for this. I invite you within this approach to do as you feel it. You have the structure, the framework, and now it's up to you to decide how you can adjust eventually. You can just tick on it, but you can also modulate, you can tune it, change it, adjust it, okay? And also, especially according to your objectives and your needs, okay? Then, less conventional techniques is to use energeticians, so people who manage energy, okay? It's a work, and or let's say people, you know, they read the soul, okay? This is kind of shamans, okay? There's people, personally I know several ones, good one, they're very good, and actually, but everybody probably in your network and so on is very important because it's full of charlatans. As a matter of fact, also it's not rational, so sometimes it doesn't work and so on. But honestly, I have people, and for me, it's working as well very good. So it's really different process because it's like channeling concretely. The shamans, they go to find new perspective. They will go back to the karmic dimension, the akashic record, and so on. So they will clean up that. It's a kind of diplomacy also with ancestors and so on. So it's not rational, I told you. So, but just this is an option. Energetician is managing energy, so it's still different. It's like okay, it's like Reiki and so on. So is probably more affordable if you're really, let's say, down to earth. Okay, but otherwise, forget about it. And the last is the guide meditation that we propose to you. That's and I choose. I mean, I had to choose only one, but I combine three themes, okay, three topics, okay. The first one is harmony, okay, fulfillment, happiness, and so on, because for me it's really, really important. Second is a kind of self-hypnosis, okay. It's a guided meditation on which we will follow the process I told you, injecting some elements and sentences regarding joy, happiness, fulfillment, harmony. Secondly, also health in general, the fluidity, the circulation of your body, and so on and so forth. And then the trust and self-confidence and the trust regarding life and the living in general, okay? Because we are living in certain, let's say, a lot of people are suffering of anxiety, they don't trust anymore life, they're really depressed and so on. And it's affecting the epigenetic and so on, and this is extremely important to find back this trust. Okay, it's a matter of fact, the world is getting crazy, certain let's say in a certain extent, and in parallel of that, okay, the new era is arriving and let's say blossoming and so on. So yeah, it's really important that you choose what you want, what you vibrate, and so on, and you plant within your mind, within your heart, within your unconsciousness, this light seed or the seed of light for you to blossom, literally. So that's why I choose these three ones: harmony, let's say trust in life, and health, because all is linked. Okay. Well, in this meditation, actually, there is a superposition of music. Okay, so there is the whole process I told you to relax at the beginning, and then some breathing, some relaxation, and so on, to compress, to engage, and so on. Then when you are, we will go to try to dig into your consciousness, in consciousness, and then we will reach your secret garden, for which we will inject these elements, and then we will go back to the surface. But of course, you can listen before. If you don't trust me or you don't confident about, I'm not injecting bullshit, of course. It's obvious. But just what I invite you, you can also adjust. You can just use your computer and record it with your voice as well. You can read at the same time what I'm saying. Like this is emphasize, is highlight my voice, and this is your own voice. Like this is common work and co-creation in a certain extent, so it will work much more as well. Okay, so I invite you to do this, and if you feel it, of course, but please appreciate as well the fact that there is many sounds and 3D sounds. It's turning and so on for losing your mind a little bit, and it's quite normally, let's say, nice and beautiful, and yeah, it's Dolby surround in a certain extent, and actually there is also a notion of echo for you to lose a little bit your mind and so on. Anyway, it's important that you try a maximum of time, listen to it when you are at home and so on, relax regularly. So of course, some tips, some advice. The first one is the state of mind. You have, I mean, it's working well more if your mindset, if you are positive, receptive, convinced in advance it's going to work. If you are skeptical, don't do it. It will never work. Secondly, a kind of discipline and also regularity for like everything. It's not because you do that or you do just once that it will work. Of course not. Define clearly your objectives. This is extremely important with positive, not negative, formulation of your sentences. This is really very important as well. Try to establish certain proximity with your unconscious part, okay, your higher self, your soul, okay, your divinity, whatever you call it, but at least try to establish. You can ask and just, I would like to be, to reconnect, to resume this subtle link and common thread with it. It's really a part of the awakening. This is literally one of the milestones of it. And last, of course, as everything, try to be enthusiastic. Okay, what is it? Enthusiasm, literally crossed by divinity. It means be happy by doing that thing. Okay, great, a new adventure, a new test, and so on. Okay, because when we have fun with anything and pleasure and love with what we do, the success is definitely more reachable. Well, this is only one key for you to shape your master key, to open up the door of consciousness and the doors of what you want, actually, and the doors of the gateless gates as well. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to home and to Dome. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.